Now, there's an old saying, and I agree with it, that when you don't touch people, you're out of touch. And I agree with that. But when it comes right down to it, we know that God is all, both invisible and visible. So we don't have to go around with some kind of a magic touch in order to heal or to raise people up to a different consciousness. But we know that this infinite presence is everywhere. Therefore, this infinite presence is here. And so we don't need to go down to heal, but we know that the healing power and presence is always there. There was a time, and I remember it, that practitioners had offices in like downtown, you know. And as time went on, more and more of the work went on by telephone. And so very rarely do you even in the other metaphysical religions, do you see someone with an office somewhere that has a secretary and all, you know, you have to pay all the utilities there, but really it's done at home because there's a greater sense of the omnipresence. Now, Jesus was a physician of a higher power and occasionally made house calls. He'd do that, you know, he's a house call doctor. But the word could be sent and the person would be healed. One of the funny things, you've probably never read this, but when Mary Baker Eddy first discovered this power and presence that was everywhere, in her religion, she would pray, you know, someone would call, someone would send a message down. They didn't have phones in those days. Say, so-and-so is sick, will you come up and pray for them? And before she could even get out the door, the person would be healed. And she'd pray to God and say, oh God, please let them stay sick until I get down there so they can see that it's the power and presence of God that's doing it. Because the doctors would say, oh well, it was just the pills beginning to take place. Or, you know, one thing or another. Very funny. Now, number 8 in our thinking is help, is another word that we can understand. The Bible says, I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteousness, with my righteous right hand. Right hand always represents the ability to grasp hold of or to change things. So, our next step then is, are we in a problem? We're having this problem we just can't seem to get over. Hear what Isaiah says to us again. I will take hold of your hand. I will take hold of your hand. I was called to the bedside of a lady that was dying, and she never wanted to be touched. And she was in a semi-state, she'd come in and go out of a coma. And I happened to get there when she was out of it. She was understanding. And I held her hand. And even at that point, she jerked back. She didn't want to be touched. Isn't that odd? You know, you'd think at that point it'd be okay. She jerked away. And she said, I fell. She did fall heavily out of bed. She was almost 100 years old. So God will take care of our hand, will hold our hand, provided we don't jerk back and decide we can do it by ourselves. I've done that. I can do this. I can do it. This will be easy. This is simple. And then I find I'm in a big mess, you know, how I get into. And I know how you get into from time to time, and you don't know what to do about it. Well, then there's this final thing of how can we use this creative power? The Bible says this, very simple, sing unto the Lord a new song. Stop blabbing mentally about all your problems. Get them over with. Stop it. You know how it is? It goes over your mind and through you on and round and round. It's like we used to call in computers the loop. Remember that? And I never quite understood that. However, I've experienced it from time to time when something will come on the screen, go up, come back. It doesn't do that too much anymore. That's pretty well taken care of. It used to be the loop. It has to do in the spiritual with our minds. And we don't stop this from happening. I can't, I'm sick, On and on we go. And it just keeps coming around, or he said, she said, I have to do this, and we just become weary with it. Start speaking in a positive new tongue that will allow new and wonderful things to come into our lives. Speaking in the new tongue, And that is, I know God is present right here, right now. And I know that God has a hold of my hand. So whatever seems to be going on in my life, I know God can and is correcting this right now. And then, go somewhere, do something. Don't keep letting this go round and round in your head. Go on and get life done. Is there any questions? Isaiah was a good metaphysician. And none of what I said today is easy, so if you think it is, you'll fail right off the bat. It's not easy. Business.
Like the spiritual diet, not easy.
Yeah, no, that's impossible. That's I don't know that I've ever known anybody that really fulfilled that spiritual, that was it
7 days.
7-day mental diet. Yeah, never fun. Anything else? Okay, thank you.